Hey everybody, it's Dr. Sam Robbins. Today I'm going to talk about the top 10 reasons why you're tired and fatigued. Now, I remember when I got my puppy, she was just jumping around all day, right? Like a little firecracker and popcorn. She just had so much energy. But as she's aged, she's calmed down a lot more. And I know in a few years, she's just going to be sleeping all day long. And I bring this up because I'll be honest with you, the older I get, the more tired and maybe unmotivated I seem to be getting. At least I'm not as energized as I was in my 20s. And this seems to be the biggest complaint I hear from most of my clients and subscribers, men and women, and even younger people. So if you're feeling tired, you're not alone. And today I'm going to discuss those top 10 reasons why you are fatigued, why you're tired, both mentally and physically. And of course, I'll also list the solutions for each one as well. So let's get started. And I want to remind you that you basically need three things in life to live. The first is oxygen, because you'll die in minutes. Number two is water, because without it, you'll die in a couple of days, in a few days. And then food and nutrients, basically you'll die in weeks. So I want to start with oxygen. Now, I mentioned this because the lack of oxygen is due to poor breathing, and most people are shallow breathers, and they don't take enough oxygen, and thus it causes fatigue. This is one reason why exercise is so important for improving your energy levels, basically because you're breathing heavily, right? You're taking in more oxygen, thus more energy to your brain, your muscles, and body. So learn to breathe deeply, all right? Try to take some deep breaths a few times during the day, at least maybe every hour. Just take some deep breaths, especially when you're under stress. In fact, one of the reasons you yawn is because your body is trying to take in more oxygen. So start taking in some deep breaths and then fast exhales. And I promise you'll be energized in just 30 seconds. And I'll do an entire video about this, especially in the future. So if you're not already subscribed to this channel, please do so and click that notification icon. The next one is that what I want to move on to is water. Remember, I said the second thing you need to live is water, and this is due to the lack of hydration. Most people are dehydrated. Most people do not drink enough water. Most people drink liquids that actually cause dehydration, such as caffeine drinks and juices. Nothing is going to replace what water does. So start drinking more water, especially first thing in the morning. And I made a video specifically about this topic, and I put a link below to that video in the description area. So make sure you take a look after you watch this video. All right, now let's move on to the third one. Remember, I said food is the third thing you need to live, and without it, you die in a few weeks. Well, the lack of nutrients is another aspect of fatigue. Basically, your diet significantly affects the way you feel, and most people don't eat a properly balanced, healthy diet. Your body gets that and maintains the energy from the nutrients found in proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. Unfortunately, most people just don't eat enough proteins, and they eat far too many simple and processed carbohydrates, and they lack essential fats in their diet. So even if you eat a lot of food, and most people are, but you're not getting enough nutrient-dense foods and balanced protein, carbs, and fats, your body will basically still be deprived. Now, you'll be hungry many times because even though you're eating a lot of calories, and you'll be tired both physically and even more so mentally. Basically, your body is hungry for nutrients, not necessarily more calories. Something interesting to know is that your brain is it's very small compared to your body, and yet it consumes 25% of your energy. All right. And a lack of nutrients also means a lack of vitamins and minerals. Now, many people are deficient in vitamin D and K, which maybe you've heard about. I would also add in a good B complex vitamin, and also maybe about 500 to maybe 1,500 milligrams of vitamin C daily. Additionally, I'd add another 400 to maybe 800 milligrams of magnesium glycinate at night, because magnesium is so important and also great for sleep. Now, these vitamins and minerals are especially important as we get older, and when we're under extra stress or we're exercising, especially when we're not getting enough sleep. And I put links to the best diets and vitamins below in the description area. Now let's talk about another fatigue-causing issue, and that's stress. Now, stress is a normal part of life. However, chronic stress is linked to fatigue. And unfortunately, most of us have extra stress these days, even though, we live lives that are, convenient with technology and all these things that maybe 50 years ago we didn't. The problem with stress is that all the negative hormonal changes that it will cause. For example, an increase in cortisol levels, the stress hormone, this causes a decrease in sex hormones such as testosterone and estrogen. Also, your adrenal glands get negatively affected as well by stress, and this will reduce other hormones such as DHEA and pregnenolone and others. Stress also causes an increase in blood sugar and blood pressure. Stress also causes poor sleep, which then leads to dozens of other problems, fatigue being one of the major ones of lack of sleep. Stress also causes inflammation, which further causes more fatigue, and I'll talk about this in a minute. And of course, stress also causes an emotional drain. And I've made videos about this and the best way to reduce stress, and I put links to all of this below in the description area. Now, another major cause of fatigue and stress is hormonal and neurotransmitter imbalances. Now, I just mentioned stress causes negative hormonal changes, which causes you to age. Stress dramatically reduces all of your youth hormones while increasing your aging hormones. Additionally, stress causes neurotransmitters as well, and it decreases neurotransmitters as well and causes imbalances in dopamine, serotonin. But it's not just stress that causes all these problems, all right, but also just aging, and an unhealthy lifestyle causes these hormonal imbalances. Never forget that hormones are very powerful, right? They literally control how you look and feel. Now, remember earlier I mentioned how vitamin D is so important and it's a nutrient that most people are lacking. This is because vitamin D is super powerful, not because it's necessarily a vitamin, it's technically a hormone. That's right, vitamin D is a hormone. That's why it's so powerful and so needed. And I put links below on how to improve your hormones in the description area, so make sure you take a look. Now, let's go to the next major problem. That's consuming too many stimulants like caffeine. Listen, what do most people do when they're tired? Yep, they take a stimulant. The most common one is anything with caffeine, right? Such as coffee these days, or even energy drinks or energy pills. Listen, caffeine does give you a boost of energy. However, regular daily use of caffeine, whether it's coffee and so forth, causes your adrenal and adrenergic receptors to not work as well, and thus leads to more fatigue over time. In fact, this is one reason why you have to keep increasing your caffeine intake and dose just to continue to get energized, just to continue to get that same feeling that one small cup of coffee used to do. Now you need 2 or 3. Not to mention, caffeine causes sleep problems in both duration and the quality of sleep. So even if you say, hey, I can take caffeine or a cup of coffee and all that and sleep at night, your sleep quality does suffer. All right, you do not get into that deep REM sleep. Now, there are other ways to increase your energy levels without the use of caffeine or stimulants, which won't negatively affect your sleep, and at the same time will actually improve your focus and improve good for your brain health and so forth. Now, for years, I've been using a product called Body Brain Energy. All right, it's a nootropic that also contains specific herbs and vitamins. It's a really great product, and I put a link below to that if you want more details on how it works, the benefits, and so forth. Let's go move on to another problem that causes fatigue, and that's being out of shape or being overweight. Something interesting happens on the days that I do not work out. I'm a little bit more tired all day long. And, if I don't work out for a few days, 2 or 3 days or 4 days, and I don't exercise for whatever reason, I'm just dragging all the time. I feel basically older and slower. Mentally, I'm also not as sharp either. Now, I mention this because being out of shape, not exercising, especially being overweight, is definitely a risk of chronic fatigue, and it's been clinically proven. Plus, being out of shape or overweight also causes hormonal imbalances, and it causes higher blood pressure, higher blood sugar, higher inflammation, and so forth. All of these being major factors for illnesses as well as fatigue. Now, basically, let's keep it simple. The more out of shape you are, the less you want to move, right? And the less you move, the more out of shape you become. So it's a really negative circle event. Try your best to get in better shape. And again, I've got lots of information about this, and I'll post it below underneath this video. Now, another major problem is inflammation, all right? Listen, I discovered a few years ago how bad inflammation is for the body. At first, I knew it was really bad for pain, right? Such as joint pain and muscle pain. But then I discovered how inflammation is bad for your brain. Then I discovered how bad it is for the organs. Then how negatively inflammation affects or impacts your hormones and neurotransmitters. Little by little, I discovered that chronic inflammation is bad for almost every aspect of your health, from head to toe, inside and out. It's not only that, it accelerates aging, and basically all this inflammation also causes fatigue. In fact, one thing is the older we get, the higher the inflammation. And maybe you've heard of the term inflammaging, right? It's because the older we get, the aging causes more inflammation. And get this, what else happens as we get older? We get more tired. So it's just, again, negative spiral thing. So you need to reduce your inflammation. And again, I put links in the description area on how you can do this naturally. Now, you know what else inflammation causes? Poor blood flow and circulation. This is another cause of fatigue. In fact, most of the fatigue causing problems that I mentioned today all contribute to poor blood flow and circulation. Remember, your blood contains all the youth hormones, the nutrients, and the oxygen to all your cells, your organs, muscles, and brains. So you need to improve your circulation. And again, I made videos about this topic, which I've listed below in the description area. And finally, we come to what I believe is probably the last one and most important cause of fatigue. And I think that's the lack of sleep. That's right. The lack of sleep, I believe, is the number one cause of fatigue. Listen, most of us, including myself, just don't get enough sleep, all right? Or at the very least, proper, deep, restful, and restorative sleep. Listen, most people, when they get tired in the evening, what do? Instead of going to sleep, they fight through it, right? They keep watching TV, or they're still out, or maybe they're on their phone, electronic device, or whatever. Basically, they keep themselves busy instead of going to sleep. And you know what happens after a few minutes, after 20, 30 minutes, 45 minutes? Not sleeping when they should have gone to bed, they get this what's called second wind, right? And all of a sudden they wake up instead of going to sleep. Well, this second wind, which I thought used to be cool, is actually bad, all right? It's actually an increase in the stress hormone cortisol and then a drop in the sleep hormone melatonin. And melatonin has many, many benefits. This is the exact opposite of what you want. So eventually people get tired again and they go to bed really late, and unfortunately they get up too early with an alarm clock. Rarely do people just wake up naturally, right, with no alarm clock. That's a major problem. You're not getting enough sleep. So basically you end up losing maybe an hour or two of sleep here and there. Next thing you know, at the end of the week, you probably lost maybe 7 or 8 hours of total sleep. An hour here, an hour there. That's like not sleeping one night every week. Remember, when you sleep, your body basically fixes everything from the day for both your body and your brain. Sleep improves all your hormones. It restores and repairs, allows your brain to digest all of the day's information and store it properly. Well, I can go on and on about all the benefits and importance of sleep. Just know that you can eat poorly, all right? You cannot exercise, you can take drugs, you can be stressed out for years, and you'll still be okay. But just 1 or 2 nights of sleep deprivation causes a massive destruction and aging in your body. That's how important sleep is. Poor sleep kills your youth hormones and increases your aging hormones. Remember earlier, I said how bad stress is for you? Well, one of the best ways to reduce stress is to get proper sleep. And a lack of sleep just adds some more stress. So make sleep a priority. And this starts with proper sleep hygiene. And again, I made videos about this topic as well, and I've listed all the best resources for improving your sleep below in the description area. So in summary, listen, when you're tired, right, you don't get the most out of your life or your relationships. When you're energized, you're happier, you treat people better, you treat yourself better, right? You don't get as frustrated, you work harder, you'll make more money, you'll make better decisions in life. And well, the list goes on and on and on with all the great benefits when you're energized. So please make improvements to what I've mentioned today, all right? Take a look at all the resources I've mentioned in today's video below in the description area. Take action, get energized, get the most out of your life, because let's face it, the older we get, the worse it's gonna get. So the more action you take right now, the better your future will be. As always, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I wish you a very happy and healthy and energetic day.